apparently people don't like it when people eat on podcasts.
Really?
Yeah. You know what I don't like? The when they say like do that.
I'm trying to get.
Hey, how's it going? It's like, ugh.
I'm trying to get my mouth away from it. You think I should stop? I should not eat while on the podcast.
No, I mean, it's our first one. Who cares?
So
Are we recording?
Yeah, it's recording.
Okay, so I'm Hugo Sanders, and this. Oh, we shouldn't do last names.
No, let me try it. I'll try.
All right, you try.
Hey, how's it going, guys? So, welcome to our podcast. This is
Our first
unofficial, official podcast. Pastors Guild, welcome.
It is unofficial, official Pastors Guild.
We hope you guys will be with us for a very, very, very long time.
Oh, okay. I mean, whatever happens, right?
It's gonna be at least 200 episodes, I think.
At least 100.
So basically, Pastors Guild. We're two guys from Southern Cali. We're trying to make this super professional comic book called Pastors Guild. We got some great ideas.
You keep saying professional. It's not. We don't know. It's amateur to professional.
Yeah, but we need to fake. We got to fake it to make it.
Wait, I think we should be more real than fake it. Just be like, listen, we don't know what we're doing. This is my first time talking into a mic.
Yeah, it's his first time, not mine. But I'm eating too. I'm not supposed to eat, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
You'll be fine.
So
people don't care.
So you want to tell us about the idea, kind of a little generic?
Okay, so let's see.
Let's start. Finish this peanut butter sandwich.
Yeah, let's start at the beginning.
That's it.
The end. No, you know what happened when I came up with the idea? Obviously I sit in the truck for a long time.
How did it start? You never told me that.
I read a comic book and I was like, this is pretty cool. Obviously, comic books are awesome, but I was like, well, I didn't identify with any comic book, and I also saw that there's like a big lack of there's always like the bad guys and then the good guys, but then there's always a bad guy devil, but never like a good guy God. There's always just like bad guys, devils, demons, and then like the good guys. Hopefully they make it or survive. Even like in movies, like there's always like you think about Jason or Friday the 13th or whatever. They have like monsters but there's never like if devils exist, so then angels must also, right? That's always been my theory.
Yeah, I mean, in my point of view, I think in some very, like not in a lot of comic books or movies, they have what you're saying, but most of them it is like that. Like, they don't exist.
Yeah, like they don't exist. That's not. Anyways, so that's kind of where it started, because I was like, well, what if we do make them exist in the comic book, but just not? We kind of just show their side of things. So I just wanted to just write. I didn't want to write. I just had this idea in my head, and I was like, well, I did try actually to write it once, but I was terrible. I'm not a good writer.
Yeah, but little by little, I think when you showed it to me, it was I don't know, like 2 years ago or a year ago.
Yeah,
when you first showed it to me, and I was like, dude, you gotta get on that.
Well, it's been around for a long time. But
it's
just been in my head the whole time.
Well, I mean, no, to be honest with you, I don't think it's a spoiler or anything, but like the idea of having, the armor of God, and for there to be like a shield, for there to be the
armor of God. I know where that started.
Yeah, talk about that, because that's really cool. That's what interested me.
I actually bought Hugo. I bought my son a Bible, and the Bible was like the armor, like it was the armor of God Bible. And like I actually started reading it. I mean, obviously I've read the Bible before, but I saw it and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, like the armor of God. And then I started thinking like, man, like what if it was like on the actual like the breastplate of righteousness?
Exactly, yeah.
Like,
cool.
That's where it started. And I was like, what would we do with that? And then it just evolved from that. But that's where it came from, because I was just like, man, this is pretty cool. The helmet of faith. I'm like, what if it was a comic book, and what kind of powers would it have? And that's kind of like how it all started from that point.
Yeah, that's what I like. You know what I liked a lot? The thought of it being not only just like a regular Christian comic book. Nothing, we're not hating on those people that have those comic books. Like they're spreading the word of God and everything, but not just being it doesn't gotta be all boring and just talking about
that was the thing. It felt like
the basics.
if you're a Christian, you can't be creative. Like that's kind of like what the world sounded to me. Like, hey, you're Christian, you can't be creative. You can only talk about God. You can't. That's everything has got to have God.
But I mean,
and everything does.
You read them before. Like, what's some examples of like Christian comic books?
Well, there was one. I read this one. I forgot his name, but it was pretty much like the Book of Genesis, and then it was like the Book of Genesis, and then in between the the verses, they would tell you like a little, not a story, but just like what happened. So like, I want to say it was like the angel Michael, and then Lucifer were in the Garden of Eve, and then between like verse 3 and verse 4, they had a conversation of what was going on, and you saw like that was what the comic book was, and then it was just like, and then they just kept going from there. And I wasn't that like it wasn't enough for me to read the rest of it. Like I was just like, this is not interesting. Not it's just not. It wasn't like I guess boring, but it's just like, oh, this doesn't interest me at all. Like it didn't.
You know what it is? It's like a lack of creativity to make something new. In my point of view.
Well, okay. If we take from like all the movies and all the things that have been made in the past, like if you look at it, like Catholicism has a rich like just think of Constantine, right?
Yeah.
In Constantine, he had like the spear of God. That was like one thing, and then it was like a magical weapon that Catholicism believed in.
Right.
And I was like, kind of like, well, like why don't we have something like that as Christians? Like it's just fun. It's not like, oh, we believe 100% in this like magical spear, but it's just like, why can't we like do the Christian's perspective? I know Catholics are Christian, but it's different. They put a lot of like a lot into like the saints and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like he has like that lighter and it's like magical, and it's like that's kind of cool. It's like a lighter that was blessed by somebody, and it's just there's just those things, you know.
Yeah, but you know what it is mostly. I think it's mostly people, I guess, being afraid to, the criticism of it, because it's really hard for somebody to to come out with something like that, and then the first thing you think about when you're coming out with something is like, oh my God, what are they gonna say? What are they gonna think?
Yeah, because it all becomes like it becomes very judgmental.
Because
like
even this, when once it's out, people are gonna be like, okay, they really just did the word of God and try to do this and that. But it's one of those things where, even since I was like young, it was like seeing my my dad being very strict about those things. It was like, why is it got to be that strict? Like, I remember there was like music that you couldn't listen to. I'm like, but is the music really that bad? I know it's not right to do some of these things the songs are saying, but maybe.
But you weren't doing that stuff. You were just listening to it.
Yeah, you're listening to it. So it's like maybe the song in a whole sense, maybe it is bad, but it doesn't mean I'm going to be doing it. And even if it's from the world, doesn't mean it's not, something that's bad in my point of view. So I never really understood it, because we live on the planet.
Yeah.
The news, we watch the news. We have to, our friends know what's up. They talk about those kinds of things. So it's not something you can't just blindly close your eyes and say it doesn't exist.
Well, that's what it seems like they were trying to do to Christians. Like they're trying to say like you just blind yourself to whatever's going on and just read the Bible. And there's nothing wrong with reading the Bible. It's like you can't blind yourself to the world. Like that's just not possible. Like it's out there. Yeah. You got to go to work. You got to be a part of it.
Exactly.
Like
you got to be part of it.
I think what they say, don't be of it, but you're a part of it. Like you just got to accept the fact that
it exists.
You're here, and like so for me, it was kind of like, well, I wanted to show people like, yes, I'm Christian. Yes, I believe in Jesus. Yes, I believe in God. But here's my creativity, and it does like the book. The comic book does have a lot of biblical references, but it's not going to be. I don't want it to be too much in people's faces, because I want everybody to read it, not just Christians. Like that's my goal.
Right.
Because my thing was like, well, my son could only read Christian stuff, and the Christian stuff isn't great. Like the fun stuff, but Spider-Man is awesome, and Marvel is awesome,
Yeah, exactly.
But it's like, but they're not Christian, and then like people will try to like connect them with, oh, like Spider-Man's always sacrificing himself for the people. That's kind of like a Jesus type. And
Yeah.
like that's great, but I don't think that was like, Stanley's idea.
But hold on, I don't even think the kids get that. Nobody gets that.
Yeah.
Until you tell me now, I'm like, okay, I guess that's right.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like people like really get in. Like, look, if you go in deep and look, like all these books.
That's funny. I never thought about that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you spin it in that direction, like then it lands there, But
exactly
because like Jesus like sacrificed himself for our sins, and so then like anybody that ever like gives his life for us, for the people, for the general public, that's automatically a Jesus type, And that's how like Christians like that you can read, Spider-Man because he's a Jesus type. And it's like, okay, but it wasn't really meant for like Stanley wasn't thinking about that.
Exactly,
so for me, I was kind of like, well, what if we do think about that? What if we do go in that direction and still make something as creative as Spider-Man?
Exactly.
And that's what I wanted to do. And and like I said, it was all in my head. And I even tried drawing once, and I was like, oh my God, I can't draw. Like I obviously with practice, anybody can draw, but I was just like, I need a lot of I've already taken 2 years of just building this world and this book in my head, and now I'm going to take 2 more years to learn how to draw. I was like, we can't do that.
No, it would take some time. Well, that's what I want to talk about. So basically what's going on now is we're starting up a GoFundMe. We're going to be making this comic book called Pastor's Guild. It's going to be very long, until we have the idea all laid out. We're going to talk a little bit about the idea. But first, I just want to say, we're going to be having the link on our podcast, on our YouTube channels, on our Instagram. And anybody that wants to, I don't have the specifics, but if you go on our GoFundMe, you'll see. And we're basically going to be giving away 100 of those comic books free. And, the idea is going to come out to life. We're going to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then we're going to follow up with the book. And, all of this, we're going to be asking for a little bit of help in the beginning. So let's talk about the first comic book. Let's talk about a little about the first page of the comic book. Like, what's up in the first page? Or I guess in a whole, what's going on?
The first page that we went through?
Yeah.
That's what you want to talk about? So, it's pretty.
You can.
No, because it's pretty silly. Like, it's just like, okay.
Silly's good.
So, like, like the first scene is just we're going to be zooming in to a castle.
Uh-huh.
And then that's all we're doing. Just like, from taking it from scene to scene, like how it would look like going into the castle. And this castle is going to have some importance to it later on. But that's not for the readers to know.
Okay, what about the narrator?
Okay, so the narrator was like a weird idea that was just like, you know what, let's just be silly with this. And let's just have fun. And so the narrator, I don't know who he is. I imagine Morgan Freeman. Like, I don't know who
he's a funny guy. You guys are going to like him. He's not a regular narrator that's just like, okay, our heroes are going to town.
No, he's going to be a clueless. Like in the first scene, he gets there late. Like, he's like, I'm sorry, I'm late, guys. Like, it's just like, that's his entrance.
No, I like it. I like it when I was like, it seemed a little bit risky because, to be honest with you, I don't read a lot of comic books, but I have read in the past, and I've never seen anything. I never seen anything like it. So
well, all the narrators are like, man, how do you say that?
They don't have a personality. They're just telling the story.
They're just like, they're bigger than life. Like, welcome back to our world of blah blah. And it's just like, that's not who this guy is. This guy's just like, it just feels like we asked somebody, hey, can you come into the studio and read some stuff? You're like, that's what we did. And that's who the narrator is. And the narrator is going to be that point of view for the audience.
Exactly.
And he's not going to be like there the whole time, but he's going to be there. Like, I'm probably going to have him like in the beginning and end of every comic book.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
Just a little distraction.
And do you want to talk about a little bit about a character or anything like that? You want to just leave that for them? I think it's important to talk about at least the pastor. Give them a little bit of insight.
We can't talk about the pastor yet.
There's no pastor.
There's no pastor. He doesn't exist. This book is called The Pastor's Guild, and there is no pastor.
There's no pastor.
No pastor. Just forget about it.
He's not even there.
Let's talk about the world.
Okay.
Because I wanted to talk to you about this world because it just popped into my head. I built the world already.
Okay.
But then I had this issue where, okay, so I don't know if you heard or if you listened to people talk, but there was like a Christian on the radio that said like, well, Jesus didn't die for aliens, so aliens don't exist.
Yeah.
Right. So then I was kind of like, well, that would mean what we're doing would also mean that Jesus didn't die for the people that we created, right? So then I was like, okay, there's this crazy theory out there, and I was just like, you know what? Let's just have fun with this. Have you ever heard of the hollow Earth theory?
I heard of it. Yeah, of course.
Right. So we're the top of the layer, and then there's like another Earth inside of us,
and then there's like a whole environment down there.
I haven't researched it too deeply, but it's just like I get the basic idea and concept that there's another Earth inside of our Earth, and I think that would be hilarious if our people were there. Like, if that's
you haven't told me about this. That's really cool.
That's what I want to talk to you about, because I was like, this would be interesting. But I don't know if we should do that. But it'd be like fun, because I think a lot of the hollow Earth theories are like, Hitler went down there, and it's kind of like that. That's kind of weird. And then the dinosaurs still exist.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just like, okay, there's a lot. So let's throw our hat into the ring. You know.
Well, the one that I heard was that they're all giants down there.
Yeah, like,
they're all giant people.
But there's so many different ones. So I was like, well, whatever. Let's just do whatever we want.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, let's make it the hollow Earth. I don't think like, you've heard that flat earther theory.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right now, there's a lot of memes about that.
Yes, but I don't think that would work for storytelling, because it's pretty much like there's nothing below us.
Yeah, I didn't think about the hollow Earth. That's kind of cool.
The hollow Earth would be much more interesting, and then you just could play around with it. Like,
yeah, it's really
cool.
So
I thought about that, because like if we keep everybody in one Earth, which originally is not what we were gonna do with the story. So, but now we can keep them in one Earth. So I don't know.
Well, that makes sense, because you can make you can make them transverse. Is that a word? Transverse through the worlds.
Traverse.
Or like you travel. Yeah, traverse through the world. So yeah, that's kind of cool.
And it would still have all of our laws of like physics and stuff like that. I didn't want to mess around with it. I don't want to get too complicated with it. But I think it'd be like, what if like 10 years from now people are like, oh yeah, there's also this other theory where like there's people that live down there, and it's like our story.
Yeah, that's
just
cool.
Be like, okay, like that's just crazy.
That's real cool. No, I like it. Well, guys, we'll leave you with this thought. We
never introduced ourselves.
The hollow Earth. Oh, you can go ahead. You first.
Okay, should we do last names or just first names?
I guess you can do both. Both, it doesn't matter.
But I thought we were gonna not do that.
I mean, I don't think it matters. I think, why don't we just do first names?
Okay, I'm Hugo Sanders. Oh.
We're definitely leaving this in the podcast.
It's a bad habit to say my full name.
That was a good one. He's Hugo Sanders, and I'm Nano.
That's Nano.
So keep up with us on Instagram, Pastors Guild. Find us anywhere like that, Pastors Guild.
We'll try to get better at this.
We'll definitely be, keeping up on these podcasts and, sending them out. I don't know, every once in a while we can. We have a lot of ideas. And if you guys have any ideas, shoot us up on Instagram or on Facebook, on YouTube, wherever you guys are checking this out. And, we'll see you guys later.
Wait, one last thing. I think we should use this podcast as like we're going to eventually have more people involved. And kind of just so the audience can see how our brains are working. And I mean, I guess it's kind of like a spoils everything kind of a thing, but I think it's interesting for people to see how things work.
Do you mean like with the podcast, or do you mean like with the book?
I mean with the book. I mean like, because we had the conversation about the hollow Earth, right? And like, I don't know if we're gonna put it in there or not. Like, we haven't, but it's like a conversation that we're having back and forth about it. So it's like, I think that's interesting for people to see how our brains are working. Yeah.
And then we can even say here, if you guys, if you're a pastor or someone interested in,
having a discussion or a conversation, not like criticism. We're not interested in.
I'm not interested in criticism. I hate criticism. No, critiques are sometimes they're good.
No, but I mean just like negative. Like, I don't want any. It's just like I ignore so much negativity.
Okay, but if somebody comes on the podcast, they're like, "Hey, you guys maybe could do this a little better, that a little better." No,
that's positive criticism. But when people are like, "Hey, you guys negative. Just suck," like, it's like, okay, that's useless to us. Well, if you're like, "Hey, you know what? Sometimes you laugh too loud. I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll work on not laughing so loud.
No, but I don't think somebody like they know. You guys know what we mean. Like anybody that wants to come through and
Yeah, they're out there. They're smart. They're
yeah,
smart
and you
people.
know, you guys want to take part and have any cool ideas or anything you want to shoot to us. We're definitely
Not in the beginning though. Let us introduce you to our book, and then after that, like I do like the idea of maybe like if somebody wants to like add a character and is well
That'd be
developed
cool.
and like has read everything, is like, you know what, this is what I here, this is me in this world, and I'd be like, okay, let's bring you in, let's see what that looks like. Like that'd
Yeah.
be kind of cool, you know.
Yeah, I guess what he's saying is, we're regular people, and we're open to ideas. We kind of have the basis of this comic book set, but we're definitely open to any new ideas, and that would be kind of cool to have somebody make a character be kind of cool, or something. We have a lot of open space in this comic book to put some characters in there too, so we're definitely open to that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, you guys have a good day, and
We should have are we gonna have a sign off?
what is the sign off?
Like have you heard of My Favorite Murder podcast?
I haven't heard it.
Okay, well they say like, stay sexy and don't get murdered. Like that's their sign off, and then they have like a little cat, and they go like, Elvis, you want a cookie? And then the cat goes meow, like that's, and then they end it. Like, should we do something like that? Like,
What could it be?
we have to. Can we just copy them? Just be like, stay sexy and don't get.
No,
that's
it's
so terrible.
gotta be something.
Something creative. Stay happy.
No, it's happy's too corny.
We'll
dude.
figure it out.
We'll have a log off for next time.
Yes, we'll have a good one.
We'll see what's up. Okay.
Stay tuned to Pastors Guild. There you go.
I liked it.
Yeah. Okay.
It was
That's
good.
That's good.
See you guys later.
That's why I'm the writer.